您正在收看的是凤凰卫视。
2020年必将是人类历史上浓墨重彩的一年。在这一年里，我们体会到了人类的渺小。在2020年，不仅有席卷全球的疫情，也有着整个加州面临着灾难般的山火席卷。面对灾难，我们除了反思，有时确实深感无力。而灾难过后，我们又将可以做些什么？早在2018年，洛杉矶就曾经爆发过一场毁灭性的乌尔西大火。大火首先焚烧了位于洛杉矶和文图拉县边界附近的圣苏珊娜野外实验室。之后，圣坦安娜峰成为火场迅速扩大的元凶。大火迅速焚毁灌木覆盖的陡峭峡谷，其后影响了多位影视界名人的寓所。在 Malibu， 太平洋沿岸公路两侧数以百计的房屋被毁坏或者损毁。当时有大约25万人不得不弃家逃亡。虽然最后消防员成功保护了派弗坦大学以南的地带，但马里布沿海西至苏尔罗马社区的所有地方都已经被这场大火摧毁。马里布，洛杉矶西海岸线上的明星之城，从乐园一度变成重灾区。灾后重建成为了一个深刻的话题。
I like to be in nature. I travel all over the world. I get my inspiration from nature. I like to connect people to the art of living. That's my goal. That's my motto. That's my motive. The ironic thing is that all my life, as much as I got a lot of recognition in the United States, got a lot of award, a lot of attention, everybody asks me why you don't design your own house. And I always said that I prefer to live in a tent. I prefer to sleep in a tent. I prefer to be in nature. So, ironically, 2 years ago, nature came to my domain and just burned everything. And they left me with a tent. I actually got what I asked for. And I wanted to see if I can actually step on my word. When I design, I do spend a lot of time in the properties themselves, understanding the client, understanding the culture, understanding I build all over the world. So it doesn't matter if it's in Thailand or it's in anywhere in Asia, or if I build in United States, in that area. I do spend a lot of time with the culture and with the nature itself to be sure that the structure and the dynamic of the design actually makes sense. I do translate people requests, but I'm coordinated with whatever I see in there and try to be the best translator that I can. After the Woolsey fire, basically, me and my family lost everything. I mean, everything burned down to the ground. The barn, the house, the guest house, the office. I mean, the only thing we left is the clothes on our back, nothing else. We left in the last minute. And that made me think. And we were sitting with the family together and make the decision that we're gonna create everything together from scratch. I think one of my biggest fear ever as a designer is to design my own home. And it's something I never wanted to do. But life is life, and he gave me that particular challenge. What happened because of that, we basically took a trailer, set it on the property, and lived for a year and a half in the process of the design and the build itself. That made me pass a very unique transformation. Basically, when you live summer, winter, and summer again in a trailer with 4 kids, you know when it's going to rain, you know when it's hot, you know where the wind direction is, a lot of things that you're not as sensitive when you're just taking a project, having maybe a couple of months looking at the property itself. I do understand everything in that particular area. I had to experience it. So if with 4 kids in a little trailer, we had to sleep sometime outside because it was too hot, or cook outside because it was too hot or cold. I learned the area extremely well. I can see from the clouds, I can see from the wind, I can see everything. I know what to expect, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's an amazing experience. And I designed my own home with my family, with the kids that have their own request of the direction of the window and the amount of sun that they like or the shade that they like, and the kitchen location and the pool location. And it was a great family and personal process. I design a lot of feng shui processes. Each culture has the process they believe in. I do collectively believe in all of them. I do think that every culture has their own reasoning why they created that particular philosophical direction. And I like to combine between them because I do find similarities. It doesn't matter if I design in Africa or in Asia or in the Middle East, there is a similarity of the philosophical engagement to a project.
马里布海滩距离洛杉矶市中心不到1个小时的车程，毗邻 Santa Monica， 依山傍海，有着绵延的海岸线，也有着嶙峋的岸边礁石。这里没有拥挤的游客，更加休闲随意，因此也更加巨星云集。明星们喜欢这里的加州海岸风情，也喜欢这里的私密性。
Live off the grid in the same time being 2 miles away from the ocean and half an hour from Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
But still feel at least that they're living off the grid. Okay. Most of the people have the means to have other people helping them to maintain all that. It's not that they become farmers, but they do want to feel living in that particular vibe. And the type of people come here in the same time, they want to be secluded. They do a lot of entertainment. You want to create a space that have the entertainment aspect with all the beauty of it, but in the same time, their private quarters have to be private, so people are not going to intrude. It's something you cannot really do in Beverly Hills, places like that, because the structures are very limited. So in the minute you're coming to someone home, you're coming to someone home for everything. You're living in their bedrooms. You're part of the living room. It's all together. It doesn't matter how big the building is. People that live here want to entertain, want to be part of that, but at the same time have their own quarters and feel secluded and not be interrupted. And that's part of the process of the design here.
抱团居住除了生活的便利，更像是一种寻求灵魂的共鸣。因为艺术家们在不同的领域里，用不同的思维模式展开了对话，激发出灵感的新层次。建筑师 Amit Appel 与影星 Tommy Flanagan 对于他们共同热爱的马里布海滩有着一样长久的激情，就像众多的明星一样，在这里找到了他们独有的归属感。汤米·弗拉纳根来自英国苏格兰的著名男演员，曾经出演过《Braveheart》勇敢的心和《角斗士》等耳熟能详的电影作品。热爱户外运动的硬汉形象也醉心于马里布海滩的生活氛围。
I think you're so close to the city, but you're not. And I don't know, it's its own world, I think, out here, you know. I think it's just having your own little slice of the planet. That's to me anyway.
Connect with nature as well.
Connect with nature, you're in nature all day long, and the canyons, for me, to ride the canyons with Amit.
Right.
No, Amit, tragically we met through disaster. Our house, miraculous, after the fires in 2018, was it? Yeah, 2018 November, something like that. Amit lost all this. This was all gone. This was just nothing. And all our property burned, but the house, I don't know how, stood. All the land, the 11 acres burned up, fences, everything burned up, but our house survived the fires. And my kid goes to school with Amit's kids, and we just got talking, and we got introduced, and we started talking, and our love for motorcycles, and for pulling ourselves out of the ashes and rising like the phoenix, if you like. And I saw that in him, and how passionate he is about what he does, and he's just one of the coolest dudes I ever met. And I can't believe he's been my neighbour all this time. I never met him.
That's awesome.
But we're going on about a year and a half now. And he's one of my
Ride the
dearest
canyons
friends.
sometimes.
We ride the canyons, we'll go up north or we'll go down south, we'll just start riding. And he seems to know where every trail in California is, if not the world.
里布海滩众星云集，有着它独特的生活魅力。但从2018年的沃尔西大火之后，这里还有很多的房屋与土地等待着被重建，被拂去尘土，再次闪耀出光芒。
Hey folks, Scott James with Douglas Alleman here with Phoenix TV. Welcome to 3340 Mulholland Highway. This is one of Amit Appal Designs creation. Come on folks, welcome. Now we're just going to close this so no horses escape the property. Just kidding, there are no horses yet, but it is a horse property. All right, that's a nice heavy door. Actually, it has a remote control, guys, when it will be rebuilt. So this is the entrance to the property. I wanted to mention over there is a separate entrance, and that's going to be for the horse barn and stable. So the horses will have their own separate exit and entrance, and this will be the main entrance to the house. As we spoke about this property, it was a burnt down property. So, you know, this is a rebuild project in Malibu. And when it's completed, it's going to be absolutely magnificent. A little out of breath because that's a big long driveway, but folks, here you see the lay of the land. And you're still going to see a lot of the previous materials that was used for the house. What I'm very impressed with when we come up here, so here's the remnants of the building construction. I mean, this is very thick rebar. Now this house burnt down because it probably had a lot of wood product on it, wood cladding. But for purposes of an earthquake or tremors, this house looked like it was pretty solid for the amount of all the rebar, which is the steel that you see that's been used in the foundation. So this is a 4-acre horse property, and it's going to encompass a 4,400-ish square foot, beautiful modern Italiante Tuscany designed home that Amit explained back earlier in our discussion at his office. And it's also going to have a separate barn, which in itself looks like a little beautiful home for the horses. But what's really going to be amazing up here is the amount of landscaping that will be done to really give it that feel that is as if you have experienced living in the hills of Tuscany, Italy. It's going to be really unique up here. We are surrounded by very famous vineyards, so this is a very fertile area for the purpose of growing grapes and things like that. So it'll be very, I'm excited to see what the end product will be. But as you can see right now, it's clay, and it's going to be a work in progress, but with an artistry touch that Amit's going to apply to the project. You're going to see something truly special. Okay, so folks, here is part of the house. Obviously, this footprint is going to be where the new house will go. Obviously, this will be the area where you're going to have the spectacular views. Not that you already have views, it's 360-degree views, so you can't go wrong anywhere in the house with the views. This area is where the pool is, where it will remain, and it's going to be one of those pools that you just have that beautiful vista off into the distance. And where you see those little cloud overhangs there, that's where the ocean is. So you're going to have opportunities to see ocean views when you take the horses down the trail. And from what Amit was explaining, that the trails are going to lead you right to the ocean, not right on top of the ocean, but you know, views from the ocean, from the hillside, which will be absolutely spectacular. And there's a lot of horse properties around here too. So, so folks, I'm out at probably the most easternly side of the property, where you can come out and be still part of the house. He's going to have wraparound decks. He's going to have a lot of viewing decks. So you're going to get to see what really offers here in the hills of Malibu. Beautiful hillsides. Down below there's a creek, and obviously during the rainy seasons you're going to hear the creek. You're going to see the creek when you go down there, because the property goes beyond that. It's over 4 acres, as I mentioned earlier, and the house over 4,400 square feet. So you got a lot of room to experience living out here. And like Amit mentioned in the earlier segment, that you know, you can grow vegetables. I can see fruit trees out here because the ground is so fertile. When the fires happened, everything was black here in the hillsides, and now you see there's a lot of green, a lot of new growth, and nature comes back quickly for something like that. It makes the ground even more fertile with the ash from the previous fire. So I want you to pivot your camera over here and kind of see this open area here. It's like a little valley. So that's the breeze coming up from the ocean. You're literally getting the breeze of the ocean coming up, and I can just see myself hopping on a horse, because this is a horse property, and just taking a few horses down towards those trails. And like Amit said, you can get down to the end of the trail on the property and actually see a much bigger view of the ocean as well. Folks, here's the entrance up here. This is where the horses will come in, so it's got a separate entrance and exit. And as you come down this roadway here, private roadway, plenty of room for RV parking, catering truck parking, horse trailer parking, and then you have all this turnaround, so there's a lot of turn radius in here. So this is all going to be the grounds for the horses and for the additional parking. And then this little burnt out area here is going to be expanded a little bit, 10 plus 10 minus size. They're going to build the barns and the stables. And again, you saw the pictures, it looks like a house. But here's the view, folks, here. As you can see, it's just absolutely amazing. The view, folks, of the trails here. And there's horse trails here, so you can take your horse all the way out to the end there, property line, and still have the views of the canyons, the mountains, Santa Monica Mountains, and of course the ocean view. There's still a lot of trees on the property, and there'll be more trees that'll be grown as well, because there were trees that unfortunately didn't make it during the Mulholland Hwy fire, but we will see some rebirth of more greenery out here in this new development.
建筑师 Amit Appel 在完成自己房屋的设计建筑后，将热情投向了一片依然空旷的土地。灾难之后的重建是深刻的话题，但把沉重化成对美好的追求，就是艺术与生活重叠的意义。
And after I rebuilt my house, I was lucky enough to, I think it was the first house that had been rebuilt in Malibu. There's two lots next to me that have the same atmosphere, the same direction, the same sun. And I told Russell, maybe we should create another sculpture. Maybe we understand that. And we both of us agree on the same. So it's not a money guy with an architect, that it's really usually the scenario. It's two people who really have passion about design, space, art, nature. And we just took it as a challenge. And the process of the design was amazing. We were able to get the permits. That's by itself not
That's a feat
easy
itself.
task. It's not an easy task at all. And we put all the elements that we ever wanted in one sculpture, one space, one property that have horse barns. And you can actually ride your horses all the way to the ocean straight from the property.
Oh, really?
It's amazing. It's not only the ocean, you have the sunset, that it's drama every day. And this property actually have 360-degree view. So you're getting the sunset, you're getting the sunrise, you see the peak of the mountains, you see Bonny Mountains. I mean, it's phenomenal. So I have a hard time describing by using the right technology for what things are.
Sure.
But what I try to express, yes, there is a modernism in it. It's 2020. We made it that far. But at the same time, I wanted to ground the house. I wanted to ground the building. So there's a lot of stone veneer, a little bit of Italian touch into that. So it's not going to be alienated from the space. You have to feel grounded, especially when you have your own creek and your own landscape. We use a lot of stone veneer with a mixture of smooth stucco, a lot of opening, a lot of windows, a lot of doors, a lot of decks, rooftops.
High ceilings.
Very high ceilings. It's something I really like, especially it helps here, less air conditioned. We always have breeze from the ocean,
Okay.
but in a minute the heat goes up, the lower portions stay cool.
Sure.
So, for example, the kitchen have to be a little bit more secluded with a hint of view. Part of the idea here, because there's so much view, is not to give everything in one time. You want someone always to experiment and experience the house in different time of the year, in different time of the day, in a different vibe. It's very important.
每一次在灾难后的反思，如果不付诸于行动，就永远只是脑电波的一次悸动而已。只有切实的行动起来，才是真实的面对自己，面对未来。灾难和疫情同样可怕，同样让人措手不及。但是我们有足够的时间去弥补，去重建未来。珍惜当下的同时，也勇于面对过去。山火或者疫情，都将不能够将人类打败。